Ezra here, Nighttime Live. You know what lives inside me right now? What have I been thinking about that I'd like to speak to? That I don't hear a lot of our brothers and men speaking to, although it does happen. I want to talk about the womb. WOMB, the womb of woman. I have been in contemplation and have actually been taking this time, I would say a good duration of my life. Of course, it's been something of mystery and that I've thought about. One, of course, from the perspective of a young man trying to get in, trying to connect, trying to deal with mother issues, right? But also trying to just feel the closeness of what it is to connect with the person. But as of lately, over the past couple of years, even from my 20s on, what's blown me away is diving into some of the mysteries of the womb. Recontextualizing from a very ignorant standpoint, what is this thing to me? What am I to it? What does it mean to be alive here in this vapor? What am I in the ocean? What are these women navigating with? What is that holy grail? What is the journey that's often not spoken to about the way that we as men, over not the men of today, because many of us are very ignorant as to the womb, right? It's being looked at and spoken to as a commodity. What up, Lang? I'm going to talk about the womb a little bit right now, and our wounds with the womb, but more so where we're not speaking to it within these men's groups, and where I'll begin to talk, at least have the conversation I've wanted to. How do you view the women in your life? What do you understand about the womb? The person that I've greatly appreciated, who I felt the most resonance with as he speaks to it, as he brings forth knowledge about the womb, would be Savan Bomar of Secret Energy. Savan Bomar of Astral Quest, and I'll tag him on this. And I've learned a lot in that space, and I've also contemplated a lot, and of course I've had in that contemplation things open up through my channel. And so as I navigate with the ocean, I know very much that I'm in a space of memory, of energy, of ancientness that's been tampered with in terms of our pollution, but also is indomitable and vast. And I feel like a baby in that space, and I'm enjoying the surf. I had a men's group where I brought up, and the title was Pussy, What's It to You? Of course, we're with these guys and we talk about it, and that is how men may talk about women, but the intention was, you guys have been after this, we've had this experience, it plays a role in our life, we came through the portal of the yoni, the vagina, we have centered so much. It's the downfall of some kings, some things also are magnified by it. It's the subject of talk in the Tantra world. What is it to you? I think it's important that we think about this. What are the people to you? What are our body parts to you? What is the womb to you? Okay? What you find as you look into history, and I think it's important for us as brothers, as men, to own up, because if truth is important to you, if digging for the truth is important to you, if reconciling certain things so that you can get to the true knowledge and understanding of what's here is important to you, then it would be important to look and to see all the different ways where our symbolisms, where wisdom and knowledge has been covered up, where images have been switched and tampered with, images that would activate and open us up to different levels of feeling, sensing, remembering, activating different memories in our body, in our heart, coming to that space, and these things have been covered up. And then we have indications of them as you start to look and dive into, things that go on in different industries, in different spaces, even within the court, where the goddess, the woman, is emulated, where people put on different, vestments and clothes and different things to emulate the woman's place and try to take over, where we try to create things such as CERN, or utilize temple structures to create an external mechanical version of the womb, where there are mysteries that have been hidden from people about how we relate to each other, that have perverted and confused the way that we interact. And we're speaking to the mysteries of the womb. Again, the portal that we come through. All of us, we proceed from the goddess. So our understanding of what it is to be masculine and feminine, well, we can speak from energetic standpoints, but there's still a bit of an order there. I can't reproduce myself. Never in the history of men has there been, parthenogenesis. If you guys look that up, the ability to actually self-replicate. If you look into what a woman is, a primordial version of the woman, Henrietta Lacks to look up. She's like eukaryotic, which means, very simplified one cell organism that's able to replicate itself. And so for me, without getting into any of the mysteries, I'll always feign ignorance in a sense, but I'm looking into this. For me to dive into what woman has been over history, what a woman is to me, even in this little short time of span that I've lived, to think about the mystery of what she's able to do with her body. Okay, then to look at the documents, to look at religious texts. I've studied Bible, Torah. I would like to have some time, and those aren't the only ones, right? But I'd like to, and I will continue to go deep as a student my entire life, but to look into the mystery of the woman, the wisdom that's carried in her body, the secret things that are also often hidden that become unveiled. Say if I'm holding ceremony and there's things that a woman trusts to release. The depth of that, it's awe-inspiring, it's frightful, it's beautiful. And so to be one of those people who are committed to holding space for the whole thing, my commitment to the men's space is also a commitment to the women connected to them and to the offspring that they'll create together, to the harmonious dynamic between the male and female conjugate nature body parts that fit together to create something. Need not be simply heteronormative or just, I'm heterosexual, I'm in that mind frame. That's me. So I stand in what I am, or what I'm at least, speaking to and what I'm navigating at this point, but also the contemplation and the looking. Actually look at history. The information's there. Aloha, Ms. Womack, long time. Lang, Anastasia. To look into what's been there, what's provided to us at this certain time, and to own up. Doesn't mean that you did something yourself, other men, other brothers, even other women who are here, but to look into what's unfolded and to take the time to contemplate. Women, my sisters, because there are a lot of sisters who don't contemplate themselves. You don't just have to go to a retreat, hold a mirror in front of yourself to look, yes, this is beautiful, but actually contemplate the mystery of what you hold inside yourself. There's a verse in the Bible that says, my Father's home has many mansions. There's many different ways to take that. It came to me as I was in a study recently, and I thought, well, it's WombMansions. When I think of what I've witnessed, the different ways that the womb holds things, right? That it actually can create, even when you think of fibroids, okay? There's creativity that's not been expressed, and within the woman's bodies, because so much is, geared to come through her into the world, the body will create packets and spaces to allow that creativity to live. Why did I think of that? It's a space to live. There's only one being that holds life. So we have Temescal here in Tulum, where we go into a womb space. We have the men's groups. Okay, I hold ceremonies, even in my little temple space, right? I'm holding a ceremony in a space, but I recognize the whole place comes alive. And the only thing that spoke to me is this place is as a womb. So I have to treat it a certain way. I don't let anyone come over. There's a cleansing, a healing, a talking to it because someone's being reborn. The womb holds space for the entire experience, as far as we know it, in many different levels of being, for consciousness to be housed in a body, in a structure, and then to get to have the experience and to grow into its larger self. When I put a seed in the ground, it's in the darkness, like the womb. Waits, germinates, all the things that are there are magnetized to it, and then it bursts forth into the next form of its physical experience. Then it receives light from the sun, water, etc. But guess what? It's still in the womb experience of this life, because it's not just dry air. The air is a vapor. So we're still in water. When I go surfing, like I mentioned with the ocean, even if you go in diving, we're still having an experience of gestation in the womb. We're alive, and in a way, we haven't been born yet, and I'm keenly aware of it. And it's been on my mind ever since I was a little kid, but it's nice to have the articulation, and as I dig deeper into it, it's activating, it's daunting, because you can't look at women the same. But by virtue of that, you don't look at yourself the same as a man. As you dig into it, there's many different parts of the body that act as the womb as well, that you would find out, right? This womb, this as a womb, the heart space, and then, but still nothing beats the actual womb that is, you find on a woman that is actually, now if it's a fractal existence, that means it's replicated, big and small, okay? And so I just wanted to speak to this for consideration, and also to invite other men in these spaces, especially if you have wisdom on that space, or maybe even we invite a woman into the space to speak to that from a space of reverence, to identify why we would want to cultivate reverence, to the degree that maybe we don't entertain certain behaviors, even as leaders, and because then it becomes clear, my role as having proceeded from that, as an aspect of that, is for protection, to hold vision, to be steadfast, right? This is why we have certain attributes. And so then I can honor that, and I can do that and consider that my kulyana in gratitude. I can have a different outlook on what it is for a woman to be pregnant and to navigate holding life inside of her. And then helping that life to proceed out. My role in a person's life. I can sit back in celibacy, and take the time to contemplate and identify how I'll navigate further. I can identify how maybe I won't even enter into certain things in regards to relationship in that contemplation, and to touch a true reverence. And then when I navigate with a woman, that's going to inform what it's going to look like, all right, to be witnessed. They say men, we come out of the womb, we spend most of our life trying to get back in, so to say, and there's so many different levels of truth. The deeper level of truth would be to consider we never leave it, because that's all there is. The womb, the room. We think we're going to the tomb, and we find out something different very soon, that you continue. There are people with knowledge that speak truth in that regard. Again, so far, there's little pieces here and there. I'm going to say that at Astral Quest, Sivan Bomar, that group, and people of the same ilk, which is very few, Bro Sanchez as well, they helped to uncover her story in terms of his story. So as a man, I don't feel, there's a shame you can feel for things that have happened in the past, but there's also the strength to reconcile it, to own up to it, to say, hey, there's images that you're being presented with that are playing with your mind, that are shifting the code, that are supplanting the actual truth, and causing us to behave with one another in a way that's actually, what up, Drew? In a way that's not aligned. Drew, I really want to encourage you to look at this as well, and start back, because we're in a space right now where we're coming into the knowledge. Even people looking back on the symbols that they would find in Egyptology, and before that we still have access to things that have been syncretized, meaning one image has been changed in a little way, taken by a different culture, but all of it, the breadth of most of what we look at comes back to images of the divine feminine, mother, goddess, that we proceed from having been shifted. This is beyond any Christian, like where I would have come from as a Christian or having practiced Judaism as well, but now as the being. What up, cuz? Good. I don't know if I'm going to see you this weekend, but I know it's going to happen at some point. And what I'm speaking to right now is, okay, we're in the men's space. I work with a lot of men. I'll be part of men's groups at an international level. And it's been an honor. This is my calling. I work with men in private one-on-one masterminds. I just got off a call with another one of my brothers who I'm super proud of. All right. And he's interested. He's open to speaking about these things. Why? Because deep down, in truth, he wants to know where we're at. What are we doing? How can I create a life that's aligned to my purpose? How can I have a vision for not only myself, but my partner, whatever partner I'm to choose, my children, the children that we'll create in that, my businesses, the people that I interact with, it expands out. And so it's nice to be able to speak to those things and to be accumulating and going deep, and to be able to also distill it and speak to something as simple as planting the seed for us to contemplate the women around you. I'm a man, right? And so based on that, and I'm a bit old school with it, I'm going to do what I feel in line with my principles, in line with who I am, just because I choose to, because I can. There are many other things that may get in the way of that, but I'm going to move through those things. So I choose to definitely take some time when I go surfing, when I spend time in the ocean, to think about the fact that, wow, I'm having an entire life experience. Some things are shielded from me, some things have been provided to me, and all of this is happening inside of a shared space, of a shared dream, in a shared gestation. I had a life experience for 9 months inside the womb of my mother. Rest her, beautiful soul as she's transitioned into her next journey. And then as I shed that husk of whatever that experience was, I was pushed out into the world. And then she nurtured me, right? And I had what I needed. And then I've grown. I got to witness my daughter being born. Most of the things that have shifted me in this life have been what I've witnessed with women. I've had connections with women, in college being a little bit rough. Maybe they asked for it. They asked for something maybe they didn't want. Now I'm saying like we had super rough sex and a trauma came up. Okay? So this was pleasurable, but then I'm in contemplation like, man, why would we want to do anything when, this is supposed to be feeling good and great, and then she's having this reaction and not being able to help, and then being able to help and speak to it. So I'm saying this to give an example of the mystery, and these things happen with men too. There are things that happen in the body of a man that he holds deep and you don't know, right? And then something happens and it triggers it, and there's a trauma response, and then it's out in the open. What to do. So this is both of us, men and women. Both of us in these two different bodies, and there's other types of bodies like the hermaphrodite, right? Which have both parts. But now I'm just speaking to this duality that we're in, where we show up in the conjugate nature, okay? One expression of us is called a parabola, right? Which is the unseen, or paraboloid. And then there's the other one, or the hyperboloid, right? And then there's one that looks like a mushroom and a toroid donut, which expresses the actual physical dissipation of our energy, showing something, creating space. Then there's what one would call counter space. Now I'm speaking to, I guess, physics, right? In the counter space, there's the inside part, the unseen part that exists, all right? Then we have these same shapes that take place all over the body, with the eyes, the nose, right? Mouth, ears, ovaries, testicles, penis, like all the same shape showing up. And so my call is to invite everyone who's watching right now to contemplate this physical vessel that you're in. My direct call, is for us men in the men's space to begin to have some dialogues about the actual womb, to take some time and to look into the mysteries of the womb as they're whatever's available to us, and to bring that up in the conversation. Because to contemplate the womb is also to make room to contemplate yourself. Because we have a connection to everything, okay? And then also, by virtue of that, the conjugate thing is to contemplate my lingam, right? Your body parts. What are these body parts to each other? What are we actually doing when we make love? We have sex. We utilize each other. What's actually happening? That term tantra is tossed around quite often. What does it mean to you? What is your tantra? What is tantra? What is a tantra? For me, I'm a living embodiment of the energy, the actual sex, the conjugate nature, as my brother would say, the funkidating components. That's the quote, Savan. But I have had the experience of the sex that I am. In my self-love, in connecting with another person, in holding space and holding someone close, and witnessing them, the unfoldment of them, and getting to feel that, and then having them witness me. But ultimately, it's the experience that I take with me, right? Thank you. Yeah, I would love to hear more, and you're welcome to share more about the womb. Type, express. We'll definitely have some more talks. And what I'll be doing is, that's the space that I've been waiting, this whole time, as I've been doing this work in Tulum, thinking we'd maybe jump into this when I first got here. So now I had the one chat to open up the space. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to force. I'm on Instagram so I can speak to where I'm at. and a little bit of what I'm discovering, what I know. And really, I think the main thing is I've taken some time. I've always taken time to contemplate it. It definitely, guides different aspects of my behavior. And it's always rewarded me with more insight, more wisdom. And so I feel really special when a new mystery in regards to that is made clear for me, because I don't have to know these things, right? It's a gift to get to contemplate the other components of what it is to be here. It's a gift to be simple, but to witness the complexity and simplicity of what we're experiencing as a whole, what many people are walking through blindly, which is okay. Why? Because the mother makes space for that to happen too, right? So I feel in a lot of abundance right now. I've definitely sat with some things that really took me aback to really understand how loved that all of us are to be within Gaia, right? Or amongst in the same space as Gaia, Mother Earth, but also in the womb space, in protection, to have this experience. I'm keenly aware, and I stand on it, that of course we'll all transition into our next experience. We navigate with multiple bodies at one time. We grow into those bodies. So the evidence of everything that we have coming, it's already happening now, because there is no time. Time is a construct. But also, I don't have to sound too woo-woo, but it is what it is. Many mansions of woman have been provided to us. What is the mystery of man? Men are actually part of the mystery of the womb that often not even talked about, right? Spoken to. There's some aspects of the mystery of us, but are we so mysterious? We're very simple. We want this. We like to eat this. We're trying to have this experience. We're creating this, as a function of, not to take any value away from us, but like to contemplate yourself as part of the mystery of the womb itself. I don't look at myself as it's not a conceited thing, but it's like, well, damn, I am actually part of my life, my experience of being held within the womb of creation. What the fuck? to put it lightly, And you guys are here. You tell me maybe if it just seems like ass is on one. This one, I've been on this one for a long time and keeping it to myself. I know what it is to keep things quiet for the work that I've done in the past. There's many things none of you guys know about me, and I don't even care about them so much, but they become the mystery of as that there's an opportunity when it's relevant and necessary. And also maybe there's things that no one will ever know about me. I'm okay with that. Wow. Just like the womb, There's many things I don't know about the journey of my own mother. But I could sense that there were things that she was navigating with upon her transition. And as I watched her, I watched my mom. I observed her. I loved her. I spent time with her. I'm going to read, and I contemplate her still, because I get to proceed and move forward and honor what I've contemplated, not a pipe dream, what I've contemplated about her in my interaction with women, what my standard is, where I won't go, what I'll be a part of, what I won't be a part of. And I want to read, what Romancing Shiva has shared, my dear. She says, every egg in a woman's body, every human was created in the womb of their grandmother. Absolutely. Let's just sit with that. Thank you, one, for sharing and speaking to that. Thinking about that, the timelessness and what's happened well in advance of what's going on now. When we think about our daughters, right? Also, considering then what actually goes on when a woman is shedding that egg. And also hopefully encouraging them to have the opportunity to shed in the earth, to give it back to the earth, because that body helps to transmute and return it for further fertility, to feed her other bodies, the astral body. These are things that we can look into and speak to, but I think the work has to be put in to know thyself. And to know the womb for every man is also an opportunity to know thyself. Why? Because we proceed from the womb. You were born out of a womb. Even if it was C-section, you were conceived, you were gestated for some time. You are here because of the womb. It made room for you. You don't die. You shift. I hold space for people to go through these birth and rebirth processes, like I've said. And I continually bring myself through these processes, not just taking a medicine or psychedelic, right? I was having this experience well in advance of that, in meditation, in contemplation, and just growing. So our natural progression to grow and to unfold, of course, has been tampered with. But to fall into spaces where you stop, all you just got to do is stop some of the things. An example would be fasting, when you stop putting in, and then you allow things to unfold and come out, and then you experience something else. Okay? This is already here for us. The air, the water, the elements. You don't have to feed a person too many things. A woman gets pregnant and she magnetizes with that placenta. It's also a parabola, right? She magnetizes a toroid, in that torus, flesh torus, all of the elements. You watch a woman in pregnancy go through so much, energetically give to create this vessel. Out comes the vessel for consciousness and spirit to be blended into and to have its own experience. I want to read this next one as well. All right? Again, romancing Shiva. Hallelujah. The prophecy within the red tent, passed down for hundreds of years, is that when women on earth again return to their womb, when they return their womb blood to the earth and offer that up with prayer, the bleeding of men on earth will end. Wow. Again, worth contemplating the fighting that we do, the wars, all the blood that's shed. So to consider what's the counterbalance that occurs currently. What's the only blood that's shed without warfare? And who's doing that? Who's navigating that? Yeah. So I think it's worth thinking about and talking about from a mature space. And again, not from any space that downplays men, but as being a man, right? For me, my standard is to begin to contemplate, to have some wisdom, to have some kind of knowledge to be able to pass down and to look into where the knowledge has been subverted, it's been covered up, it's been tampered with, and I've done it for years, and I'll continue to do this just as because I'm a student, right? And I'm willing to come back and say that. So this is me as in the men's space, in the men and women's space, fortunate enough to hold space in proximity to the women in our community, and also in the divine womb of the Mother Goddess as we speaking to the other men in these spaces. And of course, I'm not watching everyone's page, so I don't know. Maybe many other men are speaking to this right now. Maybe that's in the consciousness currently. And so I'm just doing my part from my space. I'm open to learn. I'm open to inviting women who's comfortable and to make sure that the men are of very, very respectable, dignified, and mature space, those men who are interested in learning with the embodiment, and just have the dialogue and to learn. And then I'm open to the recommendations of books. I have some books myself. And so our dialogue about women in womb, my dialogue isn't going to just be about how to bring her into multiple orgasms, how to manipulate through any dating schemes, where she fits in any way that subverts or that isn't empowering her in the truth of what she is, and also in humility of knowing, hey, I don't even know the truth of everything that you are. I just know what I've seen so far blows me away. It's been like this, and my behavior, and doesn't mean that I'm, I won't make a boo-boo or whatever, but I'm serious about the learning, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what I've learned and what I've gotten to see and witness so far, and I'm in dedication to that. In gratitude. Gratitude is what fuels the dedication to the men, to the women, to the children. And boy, do I look forward to having these dialogues with some of my family members who are open to it. And I'm not going to force it with people who don't want to hear. Ain't nobody forcing anyone to be on this page. You're here, consider, run it back. Share this with some of the other men. Women, I invite you now. I know it can be kind of different, right, for men to actually think about all the different chemistries that go down. And it's definitely a factor of maturity. So above is below, within, without, right? everything has its role. That's how I look at things. And so it allows me to look at the big picture, and I'm willing to look and see everything and to allow myself to feel what I feel, but I'm always going to walk into a more mature stance, place to hold in a respectful way, the grail, to look at it, to observe, to see, to protect as it stands, and to sometimes even as a man, you have to avoid certain things. You know, you may not enter into a certain thing with the woman based on where she's at to not add more injury to what's already there. Okay? So you got to think, am I benefiting it? Not just today, but 20 years from now, is she going to look back and say, fuck, I wish I never connected with that man? You know, or is she going to be like, wow, that interaction was with someone who contemplated me, and I can even put my finger on it because I hadn't taken the time to learn about myself, but at least he pointed me in the way and he did no harm to me. Or at least what I thought was harm was something different. Yeah. Okay. My dear, hallelujah, if there's anything else that you'd like to share, you'd like me to read in this space, or anything that you'd recommend for the men to look into, and this is a dear sister of mine here in town who's also holding space with our other sisters, the women. She also holds codes and is one who honors and comes from a place of wanting to navigate that. Big up to all of my sisters here in Tulum, worldwide, my daughter as well, my family, my quote unquote exes, you know, and just thank you, because where I'm at right now within myself is, in truth, you know, I'm in contemplation of all of you. I'm in reverence to all of you. My reverence still comes with my boundaries, right? I can revere and still be like, hey, I'm not entering into that space with certain people based on my boundaries, but I'm also going to pay it forward, you know, and that means something to me. If I had a navigation with you in the past, in the feminine, and it wasn't good, right? I personally, without telling anyone, have held myself to what I call paying it forward, which means I progressively have created a better dynamic. I've been more honest, more sincere, even to I won't say to my detriment, but at a loss of certain comfortable spaces to hold myself to a certain level of integrity and love, you know, for the people who I'm connecting with. It doesn't mean I'm paying for everything. It doesn't mean I'm doing everything that's been expected by society. But what it does mean is that I'm in integrity within myself, that I'm willing to not take, right? I'm willing to let the tree be on the fruit. I'm willing to deny myself to think, which is really not denying myself, but really honoring, you know, and just wait, and to cultivate myself as an offering in a certain way. You dig? And I would like to, you know, just really experience within my lifetime more men being able to speak to this, for us to be able to contemplate in a respectable way, both the womb and the yoni and the lingam, like all of our parts, our dynamic parts. Love you too, sister. Thank you. Yeah. And then act from that space of wisdom, because to contemplate these things, just like any medicine ceremony, will activate you, you know, will activate emotions within you. You'll start to look at things differently. I'm not looking at the plants the same. I sure as fuck haven't been looking at the ocean the same. I've been reborn in the ocean in Bali, in Hawaii, and in Tulum. So I love that water, you know. I have experiences that, of course, I'm not going to catch on video. I don't care. As long as I'm out there and in that communion, you know, because I thought I was really water-based, but I'm actually very fiery, you know, like Pele, fella version, right? So I have that fire, and maybe you can feel it at times, but I'm also learning how to move through it, and the ocean has been instrumental. It's been invaluable to me. I really love the waters, you know, and I love the water of nature, and I love the lessons that come. I surfed every day of the storm. I went out there. I've thrown myself into the waters, not here in Tulum, but in a lot of spaces, especially in Bali, where maybe it probably wasn't the safest, smartest thing to do, but I was returned to the shore, you know, with a little insight and big activations that were a lot. Were a lot. Orgasmic, right? In some ways, nerve-shattering, earth-shattering, and they take time, but also like, wow, just nature can give me this kind of experience. a real deep experience, and then I get to emit that energetically. So I'm speaking to what I don't often speak to. I'm speaking to what I'm holding a vision of the men being able to speak to. I'm saying that we'll have to do work. We have to read, we have to learn, we have to have dialogues with women who carry their wombs, who are doing that work, and we have to contemplate their wisdom. You know, to my black surfers, what up, aloha? You know what I'm speaking to? Black Surf Crew is, surfing is really where I've built a beautiful relationship with the water. I only, maybe 7 years after starting to surf, read that book, The Warrior's Way, I believe is what it's called, by Bruce Lee, where he speaks to his, where that whole thing with him and the water came from. He was expressing some frustration with the water. I think he was in a boat for a while, and so he started punching at the water, and he realized how the water takes on the form. For me, there was a statement in the Tao Te Ching, you know, that I read in Hawaii. I don't know, it was like 2010, okay, where I came into possession of this book in Mo'ili'ili on Oahu, closer to Waikiki and Kaimuki and before Manoa. And the book said, know the masculine but keep to the feminine. And I don't know why that stuck with me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Know the masculine but keep to the feminine. And so that in and of itself is a riddle and a mystery, but it's been a great teacher for me in this world. And so for many of the surfers out there, we get to have this experience with the ocean. My connection to the ocean is probably one of my favorite things in life. Truly, you know. So here in Tulum, the waves aren't that big. Sometimes they are. Last 3 days, storm surfing, choppy all over the place. But I go out even if there's 1 foot waves to paddle out, which is great conditioning. Maybe I do some drills, but I also I'm just in the water, right? Just feeling the board, which is another extension of my body. So it's a spiritual practice for me. And I think it's a beautiful thing that more brothers and sisters are getting into the water to reconnect with that aspect of themselves, beyond all of the things that have happened historically that we've been led to believe, and also that have happened. Dropping the stigma and recognizing how connected we are, how we can connect with our ancestors just at the shore as we begin to go in, how we can present ourselves as an offering to the water, and then to experience the joy, the timelessness, you know, the endorphin rush, the high of catching a wave, coasting, of connecting, right? Angling your board a certain way. And for me, I'm not greedy. I actually have always loved party wave. And that's my philosophy for life, really. That's the harmony philosophy that I have. Life is like a party wave. You said, did you go into the water? Hallelujah. You went in these past couple of days? You know about those storm waves, right? Yeah. I was out there. I've been out there for probably 2 to 3 hours, past 3 days, every day, till I hurt. But you know, my brother, right, family, surf crew, you know when you're out there for a while, you surf, I think after like 100 meters of paddling, then your arms just get used to it. And then you're just tired to pop up, but you can do it, you know? So I like to go to exhaustion in a way, because then you break through. And then after you break through from that spot, that's my conditioning, this is my meditation. And then, you know, it's like, oh, finally you caught a nice wave in. And you're like, I need to go, but just one more. So I recognize that it can be an addiction, but it's a healthy one. And it's, you know, the grays in my beard, some of that is just salt. I love it. We're really fortunate, man. Really fortunate. I love also, just speaking to the Black Surf Crew, when you guys were out in Santa Cruz. I got 2 boards back here from Santa Cruz. That's the first place that I bought my surfboards, and then one in San Francisco, right? Closer to the bridge. So I lived in a car for a time. When I met the Black Surfers, it was actually on my birthday. I drove from maybe Daly City, Pacifica, and said, I'm going to go down to Santa Cruz and just give myself a surf, because I lived there for a time in a car, in my sister's Passat that I borrowed to go across the country in between work. And so that was my life. Drinking Shilajit in the morning, some fruit midday, surfing on Shilajit. That's it, you know? Like, so it was like fasting and getting that surf in and being looked at so strange. Who is this black guy coming out here at these different breaks? So it was really special and cool in my little lifetime, you know, to see the big shift in us connecting with the water, but knowing that we belong there too. And, you know, even coming from Hawaii, it can be pretty like fierce There's a scarcity. Now they have these wave things that people can go make them mechanically. It's great, but not everyone's going to be going there. So there's still that scarcity vibration with the waves, and I just want to encourage people, look, man, they'll keep coming. They will keep coming. I know we're out there for a certain amount of time. Experience the ethos of real aloha, which recognizes that we're just stewarding these things, right? In Moana, in the ocean, in Ala Moana, in the other places. Other people may not have that mentality. There's other places to go. You don't have to beef with anyone in the water, because other people get that ass kicked anyways in the water, especially if you can swim. And also, it doesn't even have to be like that. Like, I think it's a place for harmony, for so much emotion and things to be moved through. I've conquered suicide in the water. I went out to Bali. I gave away my board. I had a board given to me by Buttons through Chris Saliu. So good friends. We all had cancer. I had cancer at the time. Stayed with him in the North Shore with some other close friends, Chris and Ernie, two good buddies of them. And, got to cruise. And I'm grateful that I was able to navigate through my cancer into the next stage of crazy things in life. But I remember the last thing that I knew, I didn't kill myself now, but I know that I'm done, was when I gave away my surfboard to some kid in Poipu. I lived in Kauai, so I left off to Southeast Asia, and then I rekindled that spark in Bali, which was a great feeling to go out there. I think I'll post some video of just me going out and then feeling that joy, and then finally working through it, really conquering the ideation. So I know how to do it, no medications, just day after day practice to help people move through depression, to also do different neural programming after, an experience, to repattern the body, to have a meditative experience out there. Yes, technique is important because it'll keep you above the water and keep you close to your board, but also just having a feel for the ocean, just connecting with her, right? And recognizing her as such a gift and working through everything. She can transmute anything, and she'll swallow your ass up if you're not safe. So I think this is enough of a share from me. Thank you for dropping in. I know it's Instagram, and I don't think people typically will want to spend this much time on Instagram, but if you feel like this will benefit someone, go ahead and tag them. I'm putting this up there because this is what's alive within me. I'll probably throw it on my YouTube. I'll put it on Facebook, and I'm open to anyone's comments. I'm open to anybody's comments of what needs to be shared on your end. And if there's other wisdom, have a dialogue here. I want this to be a space, and any space that I hold, to be womb friendly, and definitely contemplating it, because for me, I think this is it's all womb stuff that shifted me as a man, right? For what I haven't felt I've done right in life, and for what I have done that I feel I'm proud of in life, all of these things are connected to, in one way or not, of course, women. My journey has been very much in Venus, in love. I've had a lot of relationships, and my heart, I've opened it up. I've had it broken, so to say. Who hasn't, right? But my intention's always been the same, and no one's been able to break that aspect of my spirit. And now I'm in a good space of loving within myself, and I have a lot of things that I can contemplate, and I'm full of appreciation for the teachers, these women that I've had the opportunity to navigate with. And I also include my mother, my sister, my daughter, definitely my ex-wives. I have been married 3 times, and even more engaged, even when I even get into it, and also just to the Divine Mother, to all of you who carry a womb, and all of you men who haven't recognized you also carry an aspect of the womb here, where you can create, right? These hemispheres. Here, where you can speak into the world, where you can keep secret. Here in your heart, because we're in a holographic reality. So many things are connected. This is also why, like you think about womb mysteries, and they unveil a lot of things to you. So, womb mysteries, womb man, womb. Look into it, brothers. Bring the conversation up in the men's groups. Make sure that it's brought up with respect and reverence. Or just work from where you're at. but let's have a long-term plan for coming into and being the generation that comes back into the remembering and can honor it in the right way. You get nothing but benefit in that way. Just the contemplation really has been such a major catalyst and gift. That's enough for me. If I never, that's not going to happen, but I'm saying if I never get to connect with a physical woman again in my life, I've been given enough. Now, that of course is going to happen. Let's be real, right? But how it's going to happen and what I already know that I get to experience, so beautiful and such a gift. So thank you. Just being in the presence. Y'all might see me in Tulum. I've been very quiet recently. My brother's getting married. Okay, so I'm really excited about that. I get to be best man. Yeah, definitely. I'll be making some love. I am love being made over and over again, every day. And then to be able to share that in the space and to be in the presence of you, beautiful goddesses, women, whether you know about yourself or not. It's cool. So we're in a shared thing together. It's groovy, right? I may forget, just remind me. If you see me carrying myself in a way, I'm open to that. And also have mercy on these men and our brothers, because I think we're in a time where that learning is being presented. A lot of things are happening right now, but I think I can see and I can tell, and I even see it in mentorship. Oh, people be judging mentorship, but guess what? These brothers have shown up. They've been showing up, and they've been provided by Evan, with a space that is nurturing, that is enclosed, where there's no interruption, and also by Men Deep when we were at, we've done it, tried to do this in other public spaces, but what has been really nice is to do it in a home. In a house that is that structure, that dome structure that's absorbing and being the womb for the gestation of our consciousness, our experience with each other, where we're coming into a balance. So respect the men of mentorship, because they've really been putting in the work, and I testify for what I've seen, what they're open to. These are everyday men. We haven't done big retreats. We'll do it at some point. We are already global, right? I've thought about, we're not doing enough, we're doing so much. Do you want to have a priestess guest at mentorship? The men's space that we do in his house? No. But what I would like to have, let me rephrase this. I would like to keep the mentorship group as it is, but I would like to create a space. And so then it's a yes, absolutely. I would like to create a space or a separate event through mentorship or my embodiment aspect of it, right? Where we have these men, besides harmonizing duality, right? Besides that space, where it's strictly for now us to learn. Not every man is a scholar. They want to learn, they want to sit, they're willing to dedicate the time. But for those men who want to come to Tulum and do something like this, I would absolutely take charge of creating something like that, my sister, and I would love to have you. It'd be an honor to have you come into this space, especially with all the beauty that you are, and then share whatever you feel to disclose and create. We can create something around it. That can happen in a month or so. I'm going to bring this up to the men. I'm going to tag mentorship and hope they share this as well. And if they don't, I'm not going to stop speaking about it, because this is the path that I'm on. So I would love to have a priestess as a guest in a specially curated space involving the man of mentorship, so that they know ahead of time to honor. But when I said no, it was because I wouldn't take away from them in their space of mentorship. I want the men to have weekly that same thing that they've had, that it's just men. And then also, it's important for them to then have that experience, and I can create that for sure. Or it can be something where we do something like that in a dinner. But just keep in mind, right? Some of these men, they're still healing their wounds. It's going to be a tremendous thing for them to really sit and contemplate it. I think it's going to put them in touch with a lot. So I'll start preparing. This is what I've been doing really in the work, is doing that work with myself, in my relationships, so to say, maybe stepping out of relationships to create more space to do that. But you never leave relationship. And I look at relationship also as a womb. So I think it's just like, it's pretty bananas how many aspects of our experience are touched within the matrix by the mother through Ma'at, which is amazing. And it can just shrink down to that one word, womb. Powerful. What do you think? Maybe I end it now? Yeah. Oh, it would be an honor. And then I feel it will be good for them to experience that with you. So, just a side note, maybe we'll talk soon. We'll have some catching up to do. And if you're open to share with me, what does your schedule look like for the next couple of months? And then I think I would even be happy to do something like that once a month. But this is me. So I do want to step outside of Ez and see what the men need. I know they need this, right? And then create the space for them to have that experience where they're really dropped in. And I think it's going to be very impactful for them. And then I want to be able to hold space. And I guess that would be the other part, is consider the space that might need to be held as they contemplate and move through these things. I'll hold that space. I'll definitely, from opening the door, I'll take responsibility for that. And it's good for them to also have, the feminine, navigate, but they can take as much responsibility as they can to navigate what comes up. Because I feel, and I've seen, even within myself, levels of guilt, shame, anger, confusion, inadequacy, etc. I've gone through a lot of different things in shadow as well to come into, and I've had, good time in the shadow side. I believe I started from that space to come to where I'm at now, and it's nowhere near where I expect to be, where I'm open to be as I proceed. Frightfully, gratefully, in honor and reverence to this journey that we're on. And wow, thank you for tuning in with me in this space and taking this time. Thank you. Sending my love to you and appreciation, and always aloha. And I don't know, man, the last couple of days, I'm telling you, I've been out and just women walk around, I'm just like, oh, God, wow. Oh, stop it. And not from because you've seen it. Just go park, we can have one of these days where it's like you sit in Tulum, a lot of women in Tulum, everyone's walking around in the thing. And I'm just like, man, a lot of mystery around here. It's a lot. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of symbolisms. Our Lady of Guadalupe. There's so much around here that speaks to and has been covered up, and it's easy to miss, and will drop you in, to spaces. And then what I feel is the other part of having these experiences, for me, is to then guard that, to let it come to its fruition. And that's a big change. And I think that's a initiation that every man has to make on his own, every woman has to make on their own. But to at least provide the opportunity, the seed, the cultivation to speak to it, in a way that's also understandable. I feel like I can distill whatever I've come into contact with, and I can also point to people who just locked it in, who I resonate with and who I ride for. Because wow, what a gift for them to have gone in that deep, to let themselves feel that much, to put it down and to make it available to me in this life. The least that I can do is learn and understand, and then embody and protect and do, the maximum of what it is for me to be here. And again, thank you. All right. I go now. 8:33. Mucho aloha for tuning in. I'll keep the space open. I'll save it, and then feel free to share anything else you feel to share, any dialogue, anyone else that you want to come on. And I'm open, and so you'll be the first person, hallelujah, as well. Hallelujah, that I'll seek to create something with. I'm already very comfortable with you, and I really appreciate how you navigate, and I've just seen your heart. You're just mystery on 2 feet, and so thank you for how you really, truly, how you navigate what you shared of yourself, what you've been in this town of Tulum. There's a frequency that you absolutely anchor in, and it's very special. So I see you, I appreciate you, and then I echo the same. Even though I'm not out as much in town, I'm not at all the things like I used to be, but the whole time I've been here, I've been gobsmacked, so to say. Have you heard this word before? I've been this happens to me where I'm out and about, and I'm just, when I was with Danny's, we're all the women in town, for the most part, or in these spaces, or I'm getting to facilitate medicine at women's retreats, or I'm holding space. I held space for a lot of women during the time. I brought a lot of women through ceremony, beautiful women, and had to really, even before ceremony, just work on the things that came to me to work on so that I could be a space of purity and safety. I put the work in, and I'll never stop doing that. And it doesn't mean that I do many things. So really the ceremony is in the presence. But even in that space of medicine, I'm looking at it more like a doula in a sense. Like even for the fellas, long term, transition. Every transition leads to another transition and another one. So when you hear me speak to the marathon, I submit to it. I'm open to it and I'm grateful for it. Okay. And with that said, I bid you adieu. Aloha. Reach out. Let me know what your November, December is looking like, my dear. Thank you. Hitting the button. This is the shaka, hanging loose. Also, the shaka, for those of you guys from Hawaii, you see this movement, the spiral movement, mystery even in your shaka. Have you heard of the dipole antenna, the Pythagorean triangle? 3,608 degrees, upside down, 1, 1, 5 at the bottom, 3, 2 to equal 5. The phi angles, right? Water, which holds life. Do you understand? Yeah, I'm into the occult stuff, but for the best thing. Bertrand, what's up, cousin? I'm just finishing this live. I really want to encourage you to check this out. I'm speaking to Womb Space, Our Connection. This mystery that I was doing here with the shaka that I don't even think a lot of Hawaiian folks, I'm sure it's known at some degree, but like think about this movement, this spiral movement of the dipole antenna and the degrees that I just spoke to, which is Pythagorean knowledge that speaks to the antenna that holds consciousness that's found in water, H2O. Our whole body it tells and speaks to things. So explore that. What up, cousin? Miss you. Love you, man. Check this out. Check out the live, and I'm open to talk about anything that comes up. I've been, me, I left, right? I went on this journey all over the place. I've always been interested in what is the conjugate nature of our reality. We're both scientists. I was studying engineering. I switched into physics because I wanted to understand not just how to, no offense, engineers, I'm still an engineer too, right? What's going on with these formulas, the why behind the formula. So diving into that, then I got into physics, okay, and radiation physics at that. Moving into that, then I start to see, modern physics, which spoke to relativity, which then going deeper, right? The relativity speaking to, essentially leading into a more spiritual viewpoint and opening up to the spiritual aspects beyond physics and metaphysics, which are conjugate to each other. So you can also think of physics in its form, physics, straight, metaphysics, right? The line, they fit together like male and female. It's just all around us. And this is the life that I live and that I seldom speak to, but definitely am heavily invested in. So we can have some great conversations. If there's anything on this that, if you take the time and take a look at it, that's you feel like chatting about, I would love to speak to more of the men in our family and break down the experience that we've had growing up as Haitian men in America, men navigating, traveling the world, men in American ecosystem, men who've navigated space in the military, etc., right? But where we're at right now, and then also how we view where we're at, the women that we're around. We've been through divorces and split, not to put you beyond the street, but it's like that shifts you. Losing a parent, losing a mother transitioning, that matures you in a way. And so it's been a long time. But it's going to be sweet when we get to sit and chop it up. I know you've been on the journey also sending big love to your son. I think that was probably one of the best times that I had at a family reunion. That last one that we did in Florida. Just getting to play the drums. He already had the drum skills, and then just like, it's beautiful, man, beautiful. You're a great, great father also. So let me just honor you in this moment and give thanks. It was very inspiring for me, and I just felt good to be around you guys. So more of that in times to come. I'm out here in Tulum. All right. I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to sign off because you know what? There's the typical Many people may not know this typical Haitian thing where we're like, "Eh ben, okay, male," and then I'm still talking. Okay. You're gonna go. I'm gonna go. All right, I have more to say. So I'll shut it down here. Love you, brother. Aloha. Please check it out. Let it play in the background. I'll put it on YouTube. Make it easier. Aloha.